Meanwhile, in East London, court adjourning after hearing evidence on sentencing after Alutha Pasile was found guilty of the murder of the Fort Hare student Nosicelo Mtebeni and of defeating the ends of justice. Pasile pleaded guilty to the charges. A judge agreeing to a postponement request by the prosecutor. Sipa Kema joins us now. Sipa, good afternoon to you. These are quite dramatic developments today. What's the latest?
Well, of course, just after the adjournment, of course, court adjourned for lunch, and thereafter, Nosicelo Mtebeni's father took to the stand. Truly heartbreaking moment there, Stephen. I mean, you could tell in the beginning he was trying to remain calm and also putting himself together, just getting his composure there enough to answer the questions, and not really going into much detail when the prosecutor questions him, asking about Nosicelo's childhood, her personality, characteristics, and the fact that they were waiting on her to graduate April next year. She would have been the first graduate of her family, of course, having an opportunity that none of her family members had, Stephen. Just after that, then the defense attorney read Alutha Pasile's letter of apology, Stephen. I think that's when it actually took, a turnaround for Nosicelo's father, as would for any parent, Stephen. In that letter, now Alutha was apologizing for, as he says, allowing Satan's evil spirit taking over him to murder and dismember Nosicelo's body, also saying that he occasionally has flashbacks of that moment of right before dismembering her body, of the altercation and him stabbing her and hitting her against the wall and watching her get all bloodied and get bloodied out, and thereafter dismembering her body. Now, of course, the judge then asked Nosicelo's father to comment on that letter and tell us how he feels and what he thinks about Alutha's apology. Nosicelo's father, of course, says that he will never be able to forgive Alutha Pasile for what he has done, for reasons being, one, Alutha Pasile's family will be able to see him again should they wish to do so. He will never be able to see Nosicelo ever again, same as the rest of the family, Stephen. And he also said he can never forgive him because he never forgave Nosicelo, which of course led to the murder of Nosicelo. He also mentioned, right after that, that's when he actually broke down, Stephen. He broke down, and of course court had to be adjourned for a moment so that he can recollect himself. And he bravely took to the stand again after the adjournment, and started to finish off his testimony and his feelings towards that letter of apology, saying that he can never apologize. And also, he felt as though that the apology coming from Alutha Pasile was insincere, because he's only apologizing now in the courtroom. He had months to apologize. He says the incident occurred in April, but it's taken him up until now to apologize.
This is just the most terrible story. You just think about this poor father, you think about the poor family, you think about the community damaged by this. There must be so much anger. We can hear the campaigners behind you. They've been there just about every single time court's been in session. I would imagine there's strong demands from that community, from the University of Fort Hare, from the community there, demanding that this person have a long term in behind bars, a long jail sentence.
Well, that is true, Stephen. And I mean, as the prosecutor, the state requested for time so that they can actually prepare, which is on the 2nd. They asked for postponement to the 2nd of December, giving them time to prepare for the pre-sentencing. Now, what happened today was also part of the pre-sentencing. That was the state giving their evidence, even though he had pleaded guilty. Normally it would say if he pleaded guilty, sometimes the state then would not go into the evidence or presenting the evidence. But however, this time around, the state wanted to give the evidence so that it can carry weight should the sentencing that they're requesting should actually carry weight because they have evidence. Now, we're actually going to be joined here now by the EFF's Deputy Secretary General, Poppy Malo, and she was here, of course, addressing the crowd, talking to the crowd, and also saying that what happened here today should not be a norm. What happened to Nosicelo Mtebeni should actually not be a norm at all. And she says that they should all fight against gender-based violence, but most specifically, the men should actually stand up. The men should actually stand up and fight against gender-based violence. There she is coming now to join us, to talk to us here. DSG, thank you for joining us. Of course, a very emotional day there in court, especially with Nosicelo's father and family and friends that were there. But the EFF has also, been part of this since the murder and also her burial. Tell us what's your take, of course, on today's proceeding.
As the EFF on today's proceedings, we are very much pleased, especially when hearing from the side of the NPA that they would want a higher sentencing of more than 15 years, and how they proceeded today in terms of bringing all those evidence and witnesses. We're looking forward, and that is actually what we want to call as the EFF, and we've been calling that the justice system must make sure that it speeds up the process, especially when somebody is there and detained and that person has pleaded guilty into those charges. So it is a matter of just conviction and sentencing.
Thank you so much. That's the EFF's DSG, of course, giving us her own insight, as the EFF has been part of that community that you were talking about, Stephen, including the University of Fort Hare, of course, and some gender-based violence activists as well.